that I have. Look at another neighbor. Neighbor said, neighbor, all that I have. Little becomes much when you put it in the master's hand.
Amen.
All that I have. This is a very, very, very interesting biblical story. It is very timely as we look now at a time when people can't pay their light bills and their gas bills and their mortgages and their car notes. People can't buy medicine and a whole lot of things that people can't afford now because of the tough economic times that we find ourselves in. It becomes much when you put it in the master's hand. Hard economic times. And some people say, I don't know how I'm going to make it. I don't know how I'm going to see it through. But people are calling here and there payday loan, and people are pawning the titles of their automobile, and people are pawning jewelry, and people are doing so many things trying to figure out how they're going to get money to get themselves out of debt, or how they can make it from day to day to put food on the table for themselves and their children when they're cutting back on the food stamp, when they're cutting back on everything. People are saying, I don't know how I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
Well, here's a story of a woman who husband was a preacher. And he was an understudy of Elijah, like an assistant pastor, an associate minister in the church. And he died. And when he died, he left a lot of debt. He had a house, perhaps, that was mortgaged up to the hill. He probably had credit card debt that were, insurmountable, that she couldn't afford to pay. He may have help with a car note that she couldn't pay. Any number of debts that could have been there, but the bill collectors, the creditors, that said that, and this is what she said. She said, and you know your servant fears God, but the creditors has come to take my children to be slaves. Creditors will call him. You know how some of us, we're so glad we got call ID now.
Amen.
We just don't have to pick up the phone. We don't have to lie no more and say we'll be in there next week.
Amen.
We'll lie and say, I'll see you Friday. Oh, I wish I had something about it.
Amen.
We don't have to lie no more and put the children on the phone and say, she ain't here.
Right.
Or he ain't here. Or y'all ain't gonna go with me today. We don't have to worry about that kind of stuff no more because we got caller ID. But the creditors had come, and the creditor was looking for their money for the debt that her husband owed them. Well, in the biblical time, that when you were indebted and when you died, then your children would become indentured slaves to the person who you owe the debt to. That means that they would have to be slaves and work off your debt. And she knew that this was going to happen to her children. She had lost her husband, now she's going to lose her two children to pay off the debt. So she goes to the man of God, the only one that she felt comfortable with, the pastor of the church. And she said, Pastor Elijah, whoa, I got a problem here, Pastor Elijah, and I don't know what to do. And look at what Elijah said in a very calm manner. He said, listen, he said, what do you have? How much money do you have in the bank? What do you have to pawn? What do you have to sell? What do you have? She said, Elijah, I don't have anything. I just got a little oil. That's a jar of oil. That's all I have. And Elijah said to her, he said, this is what I want you to do. He said, I want you to go from neighbor to neighbor's house and borrow from them a vessel. An empty vessel. Borrow from them an empty vessel. Now, you know, some of us, we know folk down on their luck. We ain't got nothing to lend. Because we started with our story talking about we have a hard time too. Some of y'all niggas in here right now. I ain't got nothing to get nobody. I'm having a hard myself. It's hard for me, so I'm going to help somebody else. I can't even help myself. Help somebody. I'm going to help somebody else. I can't even help myself. And she went from neighbor to neighbor to neighbor to neighbor to neighbor till she got all of these of the vessels they gave to her. That's the old community. That's where the old community used to be. The old community used to be that way. If you needed something, they would share with you. They would give you a little something because they realized that it's better to give than it is to receive. The more you give, the more you're going to what? Receive. We forgot that principle. We don't understand that principle no more because it's all about us. We are just too selfish now.
All right, Bishop.
It's all about what I have and what I can get for me. We didn't live up. We didn't raised that way. We were raised to share.
I know that's right.
I tell a story, and this is a true story. I tell a story on the other side of the railroad track, wherever Malice grew up at. Minister Malice grew up. There's a lady who had a little trailer in her backyard. She sold candy to the neighborhood kids. I'm going back now.
Way back.
Now, crossed over the track that day, and they had these cookies there, because you don't know them about them, you're too young, but they call them rock and roll. It's something else now. But there were two in a pack. They still rock and roll? They small, okay. But there were two in a pack. You get two of them. They were gingerbread cookies, two big gingerbread cookies, and they had this pink icings on them. Hello, somebody. And I went across the track, and they were about a nickel. You get spend a nickel, you get this big old rock and roll with two gingerbread cookies, and boy, you had to sell something with an RC coat. So I come back across the track with my two rock and roll cookies. And I get ready to go home with my cookies, and I'm going to eat my cookies, and I'm going to eat my cookies. And so my brother, he said, man, give me one of them cookies. Give me one. I said, I ain't going to give you nothing. He said, man, come on back. Give me one. I said, man, I ain't give you nothing, man. And I said, choo, I spit it on. Then my mama said, she took out my hand, she said, throw it down. She said, step up. She said, if he can't have none, you can't have none. You got to learn to share with your brother. So we're not teaching how to share anymore. It's all about me. It's all about what I have and what I can get, and not about what it is for my brother and sister. I don't care if my brother and sister is sleeping on a bridge. I don't care if my brother and sister don't have nothing to eat. I don't care if my brother and sister don't have no clothes. I don't care as long as I got clothes. Some of you got clothes with the clothes. They ain't never thought about getting nothing to them. Salvation done. Hello, somebody. Some of you got food in your cupboard. When we talk about we have the food pantry. Oh, Bishop, I forgot to bring something this week, but I got some food. Because you didn't think about nobody but yourself.
That's right.
But this lady had neighbors who were willing. She probably wouldn't have told the story, though, John. She probably said, you know, my husband did. And they're trying to take my child. The preacher done told me to ask y'all. You know, y'all sure tell what the preacher said. The preacher told me to ask y'all if y'all would just let me have a vessel. You empty vessel. And they began to give. And give and give and give. But I want you to listen to the moral of the story and what God do with a little and how God took a little and God made that little and how that little grow. He took that little. See, all was a very precious commodity. It was very, very expensive. All was a very, very precious commodity. It was very, very expensive. And all she had, she didn't say she had a whole jar of oil. She said, I just got little, teeny weeny bit. Then she said, he said, then take that teeny weeny bit you got and pour it until it run out. Now, it didn't say how many vessels she got from people, but it said she got them. And she kept pouring until she filled up every one of them that she had gotten from her neighbors. And then once it was all of them was filled up, the son said, we don't have